So welcome back guys. In this video we will discuss about the structure of chloroplast. Okay, we will try to discuss the every aspect of it. We will try to discuss the chloroplast structure in deep detail, so that if any question is posed to you in any examination, you can very easily answer that question. Okay, so let's start. So when we talk about the chloroplast structure, let's make it, as I told you in the beginning, that chloroplast is actually it's somewhat discoidal, oval in shape, alright, and it is double membranous structure. We got two envelopes over here, two membranes over here. Right, so this is outer membrane, this is inner membrane, and both membranes are about 6 to 90 angstrom thick. These are the thickest membranes. This outer membrane is permeable, as you saw in case of mitochondria, and well as the inner membrane is selectively permeable. Selectively, that means it does not allow every Tom, Dick and Harry to pass through, but it selects which are to be selected, which are to be allowed, which are not. However, as per the outer membrane is concerned, it's permeable, it allows everyone to go. And because we do have less proteins over here, in case of we have more proteins, which makes it selectively permeable. Okay, then we have a space between the outer and inner membrane. This space we call it as periplastidial space. In case of mitochondria, we would call it perimitochondrial space. Here we call it periplastidial space. Okay, this is about the envelope. Then we do have this compartment, inner compartment, which is limited by the inner membrane, and this is filled with the ground substance. In mitochondria we would call it matrix, here we call it stroma. This ground gel fluid substance which is present over here, we call it as stroma over here. In some books it's also mentioned as matrix, but matrix we mostly call it in case of mitochondria, here we call it stroma. Okay, so what is present in the stroma, that is to be seen. We do have this is DNA, for example. We have got the circular DNA. We have about 2 to 6 copies of circular naked DNA. Circular naked DNA. We have ribosomes here, 70S. So the ribosomes are 70S. Okay, and we have a structure that is called plastoglobuli. Plastoglobuli is a structure over here. Plastoglobuli. This plastoglobuli, it stores actually lipids. It stores lipids. If it is plastoquinone, it stores vitamin A and vitamin E. So this is very important. So this plastoglobuli structure, which is present in chloroplast, it stores lipids, it stores vitamin A, vitamin E. Okay. Then what else we have in this stroma? Let's see. We have some we have enzymes present for Calvin cycle. In stroma we have enzymes present for Calvin cycle. C3 cycle, Calvin cycle, right? So we have enzymes for Calvin cycle here, and for example one enzyme, that's Rubisco, which is also present in the stroma. Rubisco is the most abundant enzyme present on the planet, on this planet, right? It is the most abundant. If sometimes you are asked which enzyme is the most abundant on the surface of earth, so you will answer, your answer will be Rubisco, and this Rubisco is very present. It is present in the stroma, and it is involved in C3 cycle, that's Calvin cycle, for carrying out the dark reaction of photosynthesis, or carrying out the dark reaction of photosynthesis. This Rubisco is actually the ribulose 1,5-bis phosphate. Okay. So, and this ribulose 1,5-bis phosphate Rubisco makes about the 16% of the total protein content of chloroplast. 16% of total protein content of the chloroplast. Okay, and we do have some cofactors present. We have some divalents over here. We have magnesium, we have manganese dipositive, we have iron as well. So these divalents are always there, because why do we need these divalents? In some mitochondria we have it there as well, and we have it here as well. The reason being, they act as a cofactors. They actually activate the enzymes. This is all about the stroma. Then the final part we have to discuss is that that is actually the thylakoids. I decided to discuss the thylakoids in the later part of this, that means after discussing all these three parts, because that's to be discussed in finer details. Questions can be posed from the thylakoids. Okay, so let's rub it off. We have discussed this part, this, what do you call it, stroma is there. Let us see what are the thylakoids. These thylakoids, actually from these thylakoids are the sac-like structure, sac-like membranous structure. They arise from the inner membrane. They originates from the inner membrane, right? Like this. We have these thylakoids over here. So these thylakoids are the sac-like structure. That's why they are called thylakoid. They are bounded by membranes. Double membrane also present here, and they arise from the inner membrane. Okay. Third thing about these thylakoids, there are two types. These thylakoids are of two types. These can be smaller thylakoids, or they can be larger thylakoids. Smaller thylakoids, they pile one upon another, they stack on one another. Okay, they are piled on one another like the piles of the coin or stacks of the coin. So these are the small thylakoids, and they are piled upon one another, one stacked upon another like this. So the group of these small thylakoids which are piled upon one upon another, this group we call as granum. Okay. So what is a granum? Granum is actually the group of small thylakoids which are piled one on another. Okay. Then we do have some large thylakoids as well. Large thylakoids are those thylakoids which are actually joining these small thylakoids, which are joining these granas. Singular we call as granum, and when there are many piles present, many stacks, many piles of these thylakoids present there, we call it as grana, a plural. So this is one granum here, this another granum. So the granum is connected by the larger thylakoid here, longer thylakoid, we call it as stromal thylakoid, because it is present surrounded by the stroma, and we also call it as intergranal thylakoid. Intergranal thylakoid. Because inter means between the grana, it is between the granas. Got it? We also call them as frets. They are also called as frets, and they are also called as, because question can be asked anyways, they are also called as stromal lamellae. Stromal lamellae. Right. However, the smaller ones, these are called as small thylakoid. They are also called as, they are granal thylakoids, or they are also called as granal lamellae. So the thylakoids, they have got a lumen over there. Smaller thylakoids have a lumen, larger thylakoids both have got the lumen. The lumen of smaller thylakoids is called as loculus, whereas the lumen of this one, larger one, is called as fret channels. Fret channels. Got it? So this is the lumen. And one more thing I want to add up over here, that is the smaller thylakoids. These smaller thylakoids, they are about 6 nanometers in thickness. However, these are narrower than these. So the larger ones are narrower. They are about 3 nanometers. However, these are about 6 nanometers. Each smaller thylakoid is actually the 6 nm in thickness. However, the longer one is 3 nm, 3 nanometers. And why do you call these as smaller and this as longer one, larger? The reason being, these are actually smaller in diameter, size. However, in thickness, the smaller are thicker than the larger ones. Okay, let us talk more about these thylakoids. Let me rub it off. These thylakoids can be 1 in number, 1 thylakoid in 1 grana per granum. Then we call it as monothylakoidal, and where it is present in red algae. We have 2 thylakoids per grana in case of Cryptophyta. It's also an algae. We have 3 thylakoids per granum in case of Chrysophyta, and we have about 10 to 100 thylakoids per granum in case of higher plants. So this is most important among them. It can be asked in the examination. We got in higher plants, we have 10 to 100 thylakoid per granum. Sometimes this is also asked which is the monothylakoidal among them, that's the red algae. Got it? And in higher plants, we have about 40 to 80 grana per cell in higher plants. So you don't have to be confused between these two numbers. These two figures, what they indicate, this is actually the 10 to 100 thylakoids are present per granum. However, 40 to 80 grana are present in higher plants in one cell, right? So not to be confused, I would repeat this point. Thylakoids, they pile upon one another and they form the grana. Okay, granum singular. Then there can be many these stacks, piles present in the chloroplast, and we call them grana. There can be different granas there. Okay, and these granas are about 40 to 80 in case of higher plant cells. Okay, let's see what is present in these grana, in these thylakoids. Let's make a thylakoid. We got a thylakoid over here. Okay, it is stacked upon another thylakoid. Okay, stacked upon another thylakoid. So this is the membrane of thylakoid, and this is lumen, which I called in case of small thylakoids as loculus. So what is present in the membrane of the thylakoid, that is to be seen. We do have here, we have photosynthetic units, called as contosomes, right? So we'll discuss them in detail. Here I am talking about here in case of this membrane. This is outer membrane, inner membrane of the thylakoid. What do we have over here? So we have electron transport chain, or we call it as BF cytochrome complex. Where we do have all these things in the membrane of thylakoid. And the third thing we do have over here is ATP synthetase, and here we call it as CF0, CF1. In case of mitochondria, we did not use this prefix C. Here we are using it to differentiate it from the mitochondrial. Here it is actually the chloroplast, that we call it C. That's chloroplastal F0, F1, ATP synthetase. So these three things are present where? In the membrane, on the membrane we can say. So let us discuss what are these photosynthetic units. So the photosynthetic units, what actually they are the contosomes, which we call them contosomes. They are also called contosomes. They are the photosynthetic units which have got the pigments, chlorophyll A, B, C, D, all these pigments, carotenoids, other things are present in this. Okay, so in case of this contosomes are actually having the 230 to 400 pigment molecules, right? So these contosomes have chlorophyll A, they have chlorophyll B, C, D, they have xanthophylls, they have carotenes, and in some algae they have also phycobilins, right? This is the composition of the photosynthetic unit or the contosomes over there. Okay, so second thing which we discussed about this is that these pigment molecules, because we have got the pigments over there, these pigment molecules in collaboration with some proteins, chlorophyll binding proteins, we have got two photo trapping systems, photosystems, which we call as photosystems, light trapping systems, which we call as photosystems. So don't be confused. These photosynthetic units, these pigment molecules which is present there, they form two types of photosystems which are over there to trap the solar energy. We got the photosystem 1 and photosystem 2. So where from these photosystems come? They are actually these pigment molecules which are forming these photosystems in collaboration with some binding protein is there. Some proteins are also there which are called as the chlorophyll binding proteins. So the chlorophyll binding proteins plus pigment molecules, they constitute these photosystems, photosystem 1 and photosystem 2, and we also call them as light harvesting system or light harvesting complex. Okay, photosystem first and photosystem second, made up of the pigment molecules and some chlorophyll binding proteins. The photosystem first, this absorbs light at 700 nanometers, this absorbs light at 680 nanometer wavelength. Okay, this is to be remembered. Second thing, let's see where they are present. The PA second, where it is present? It is present at the appressed part of granule thylakoid membrane. PS second, the PS first is present where PS 1 is present. It is present at unappressed part of granule thylakoid membrane and stromal lamellae. Okay, so which is the appressed part and which is unappressed part? As I told you, the first photosystem second is present at the appressed part of the granule thylakoid membrane. Granule means small these thylakoids which are piling one upon another, making a granum. So like this, one piled on another, staggered one another. So appressed part is that part when these membranes are these two, they combine together, they are one upon another like this. This part we call it as the appressed part, and in this part we have photosystem second present. So this part, appressed part, is not in touch with the stroma because this is surrounded by the stroma, it is present within the stroma. So the appressed part is not present, is not in touch, is not in continuity with stroma, but it is actually one stroma, like this is one thylakoid, it is actually piled, this is one thylakoid piled upon another thylakoid. So this part is actually the appressed part, they are appressing one another. Okay, but they are not in touch with the stroma. Like here you see, this part is not in touch with the stroma, and here we have photosystem second, and it is noted down for your NEET examination, very important for your NEET. Number first. Second thing, we have unappressed parts. So these are the unappressed parts, they are not appressed by another this thylakoid there, but this part, like this part, this is in touch with the stroma. So that part which is in touch, in continuity with the stroma, which is surrounded by the stroma, and there is no another thylakoid pressing upon it, that part we call it as unappressed part. Here we have photosystem 1. Photosystem 1. Here we have photosystem 1, unappressed part of thylakoid, granule thylakoid, and other where again it is also present in stromal lamellae or stromal thylakoid. For example, we have this stromal thylakoid which is joining these grana. Here we also have got these photosystem 1 present. Okay, clear? Okay. So this is about the photosystem 1 and photosystem second. So now I tell you one more thing. Whether you talk about the photosystem 1 or photosystem second, 680 nanometers and 700 nanometers, both have actually a reaction center, core part, a reaction center where chlorophyll A is present, and this chlorophyll A is called the reaction center in both cases, whether it is 1 or 2, and then it is surrounded by other molecules. There are some other pigments are also there. Sorry, these markers are not writing, they don't have running out of ink almost. So other these pigments are also there. Those we call as accessory pigments. Carotenoid is chlorophyll B, others CD, right? But the main, that is chlorophyll A, which is present at the reaction center, surrounded by other molecules, other pigments. These we call as antenna molecules. These are the antenna molecules. These antenna molecules will actually trap the solar light, send energy, then it will transfer the solar light to chlorophyll A, which is the reaction center, where from the reaction will start, which we have to discuss when we talk about when we will discuss the photosynthesis in detail. There we will see what happens over there, how the electron is excited, then that electron is knocked out, and this electron moves down the chain through this ETC complex and all. That is to be discussed in other part, as photosynthesis. Here what you have to remember is chlorophyll at the center, that's called the reaction center. It is surrounded by the antenna molecules, chlorophyll, carotenoids, chlorophyll B, others. Okay. Okay, this is all about the this photosystem 1 and 2. Combinedly they call it as light harvesting complex, because they are actually trapping the light and photolysis of water takes place. So this was all about the quantum zooms. The second thing I told you, that there we have got the we have BF cytochrome complex present, or we also call them electron transport system or electron transport chain is also there. So this electron transport chain, electron actually which was knocked out at the reaction center, that goes down through so many these complexes, molecules, plastocyanine, plastocyanine, and others. Okay. Then finally this is accepted by the NAD to form NADH and ATP, and all that is to be discussed in a separate lecture when we discuss about the photosynthesis. And we do have got the ATP synthetase over here, as I mentioned earlier, but we represent as CF0 CF1, CF0 CF1. Okay, C means chloroplast. So these are the thylakoids. Thylakoidal membrane is there, where actually the light reaction of the photosynthesis takes place. Okay, so that's why these things are present in this thylakoid membrane. So I tell you, photosynthesis is completed in 2 steps. One is light reaction and second is dark reaction. So the light reaction takes place, the seat of light reaction is thylakoid membrane, mostly inner membrane, and the seat of dark reaction is stroma, where I told you is present enzymes for Calvin cycle. Got it? Again I tell you, so photosynthesis is completed in 2 parts. One is light reaction, another is dark reaction. In case of light reaction, photolysis of water takes place and radiant energy is converted into the chemical energy, into NADPH and ATP. And in case of dark reaction, that NADPH and ATP chemical energy is utilized for fixation of carbon dioxide for formation of glucose. So these are the 2 steps, light reaction and dark reaction. We can't go into the final details here, but I tell you, it's the photosynthesis, the light reaction, where the photolysis of water takes place. The radiant energy is converted into the chemical energy as ATP and NADPH, and that NADPH and ATP is utilized for fixation of carbon dioxide into food for the formation of glucose from carbon dioxide. Got it? Okay, these are the 2 processes. But what is actually asked, as far as your chloroplast is concerned, you will be asked a question. The question is definitely posed in the examination, where the light reaction takes place. It is actually the thylakoid membrane. If we go down into the finest detail, we can say we have got the inner thylakoid membrane where the light reaction takes place. However, when we talk about the dark reaction, this dark reaction actually takes place in stroma. So this is the most important part of this chloroplast. It's often exposed in the examination, asked in the examination. So you have to remember it for your NEET examination. Don't get confused. Light reaction, thylakoid membrane, and dark reaction in stroma. Very important. Sometimes option is also given there, thylakoid lumen, but not in the lumen. So you have to outrightly say that no, it's the thylakoid membrane, not the lumen, where the light reaction takes place, and it's the stroma where the dark reaction takes place. That's why we do have the enzymes for the C3 cycle or the Calvin cycle as per the dark reaction is concerned. Okay. So one more thing I would like to add up about the thylakoids, that these thylakoids are also called as baggy trousers because of their appearance, and they are also called as the structural and functional unit of chloroplast. Very important. As in case of mitochondria, oxisomes are known to be the structural and functional units there, but here in case of chloroplast we do have these thylakoids, which we call as structural and functional units. Okay, dimorphic in nature. That means it exists in two forms. It can be granule chloroplast or it can be agranule chloroplast. This portion is also important as far as for pre-medical entrance examinations are concerned. So the granule part and the agranule chloroplast. The agranule chloroplast is that chloroplast which has granule thylakoids, that means small thylakoids, or granule lamellii. They are also stromal thylakoids, and they have the granule plus stromal plus they have stroma. Whereas in case of agranule chloroplast, A means without granule, this granule thylakoid is absent, is missing. This granule thylakoid is absent. This is very important, you note it down. Okay. However, this stromal thylakoid is always there and stroma will be there definitely. So the difference between the granule thylakoid and the agranule thylakoid is that in case of the agranule thylakoid, granule thylakoid is absent, is missing. Okay, so let's see where these are present. In mesophyll cells of C3 and C4 plants, we have granule chloroplast. It's very important for your need. However, in bundle sheath cells of C4 plants, we have a granule chloroplast. So where is present, where these granule and agranule chloroplasts are present? So the granule chloroplast is present in C3 and C4 cells of mesophyll. However, in bundle sheath cells of C4 plants, we have agranule chloroplast, and these agranule chloroplasts are also present in green algae. Green algae also have agranule chloroplast. Got it? Okay. So in case of C3 plants, we have only granule chloroplast. In case of C4 plants, we have granule plus agranule chloroplast. Granule in mesophyll cells and agranule is bundle sheath cells. Because in C4 plants we have an anatomy that's called the Kranz anatomy there. Mesophyll and the bundle sheath cells are also there. So we can say in case of C3 plants we have only granule chloroplast, and in case of C4 plants we have granule plus agranule chloroplast. Both are present in different cells. Mesophyll we have C3, in bundle sheath we have agranule. In mesophyll we have granule and bundle sheath we have agranule. So the C3 C4 cycle, don't confuse what is the C3 C4 Calvin cycle. The first product for is 3 carbon cycle, that's why called C3 cycle. And in C4 plants where C4 cycle is operating, we got this 4 carbon product formed. That's in the beginning, that's where we call it the C4 cycle. It's some different, it's another topic related to this. It will be inshallah discussed in some other video, but here we have to remember all these points. One more thing, in case of green algae we have some structure, also additional structures present in the stroma, that called pyrenoid. Pyrenoid is an additional structure present in the stroma of the green algae. It is these pyrenoids which are actually the starch storing molecules. They are storing starch because they have got the starch synthetase enzyme which synthesizes this starch. Then the starch is stored there in pyrenoids. And there is one more another part or organelle there, that's called the stigma. In green algae is stroma, or we call it as eye spot. This stigma or eye spot present in the stroma of the green algae, this is actually important for photosensitization. That means this is photosensitive. What is photosensitization? Photosensitization is that where a molecule, a substance captures, observes light to initiate any chemical reaction. That's called photosensitization. So photosensitization, it is sensitive, as you call, he is sensitive to this, he is sensitive to that thing, he is very sensitive guy, he is sensitive to allergens. So many things are there. So similarly, photosensitization means when a substance absorbs light, because of its light absorption, the chemical reactions are kicked off or started. So this is all about the structure of it. I would like to add one more point over here, it's very important. That means the concentration of chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B is this 75% we have chlorophyll A and 25% we have chlorophyll B, as per as the in case of chloroplasts in higher plants. Or we can say like this, if sometimes the question is asked, what is the ratio of chlorophyll A to the chlorophyll B in higher plants? So the ratio, that is 75% upon 25% of chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and this is 3:1. 3:1. This is very important as NEET is concerned. So let's see about this is a structure discussed, the function. The first function all know it, that's the photosynthesis. Every Tom, Dick and Harry knows it. Second is it maintains a balance between carbon dioxide and oxygen balance in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is absorbed by plants and oxygen is released. It also stores some lipids, vitamin A and vitamin E, as far as the plastoglobuli is concerned. Okay. Fourth one is that is maternal inheritance. So the photosynthesis, you know, very simple, carbon dioxide oxygen balance, as I told you. Carbon dioxide release, oxygen is absorbed by plants by these chloroplast, lipids, vitamin A, this vitamin E storage, and the fourth one is maternal inheritance. The part of sperm that fuses with the egg is actually only the nucleus. Other things they come from the mother, even the this is the chloroplast which comes from mother. So from father there is only nucleus, from mother there are all the things, nucleus, chloroplast, everything comes from the mother. And so from mother, this is mother be having the chloroplast, and this chloroplast having some DNA genes. So this is transmitted, these genes are transmitted from the mother to the offsprings. That's why we call this a maternal inheritance, because some of the genes which are present in the cytoplasm are transmitted only from the mother to the offsprings. This is all about the function. So the biogenesis or the origin. The origin is they are self-duplicating by fission. So the new chloroplast arise from the pre-existing ones, and second thing is they can arise from the proplastids, right? These are the precursor of the chloroplast, or all the plastids present in the meristematic tissue. So the proplasts are the precursors of the plastids, all types of plastids present in meristematic tissue. This is all about the origin and biogenesis. So this is all about the chloroplast. I think I tried to cover up all the aspects of this chloroplast. So you go through these points properly. Make a notebook, just note down important points, and inshallah you can answer all the questions asked to you. Thank you very much.